Senator Hartnett.
Good afternoon. Christopher Coase with the DuPont Regional Planning Council. Senator, I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me to discuss the Partnership for Sustainable Communities and what it's done for our great state of Washington.
Great, it's nice to meet you. Could you tell me a little bit more about the project you're working on?
Absolutely. The DuPont Regional Planning Council has been working with a lot of organizations and community partners to create a 20-year regional planning effort in the city of Olympia. In order for us to receive a grant from the partnership, we had to create a consortium of these particular partners to think about how, through planning, we would like to make our community better, a better place to work, live. How do we create new jobs using and leveraging the resources that we have now on the ground?
Interesting. And how is your plan benefiting the community of Olympia?
Well, one of the things I can say is that we actually have been looking both at the economic development, the economy particularly, the environment, and the society and our community together, rather than actually looking at them individually. By looking at them together, we are able to recognize the full benefits that could come out of this level of planning for our future investments and our future growth. And I think this is something that I can proudly say this should be a top priority for our state and for our community moving forward in this next discussion in D.C.
We're in very tough fiscal times, as you know, at the federal level. How can you make the case for asking for money when the federal government just really doesn't have a lot?
Well, this particular program has done wonders in terms of helping us actually save money over time by coordinating all of our resources and leveraging funding from not just this partnership grant, but also from the private sector. We are actually bringing people to the table who otherwise would have waited to the end of the process, and by having that initial buy-in, we're able to reduce the time, which allows us to save money, which allows us to better leverage those resources. So overall, this is a really good investment that should be a top priority.
And how much does your program cost?
Well,
this program.
Well, this particular program, our council had a proposed budget for our particular grant application, which was very competitive. It was a very huge competitive program for about $1.5 million. Again, $1.5 million, a very small amount of money, which we're actually able to create new capacity in our community to think through the economic investments that we need to make to create new growth both in the short term but also in the long term.
So if Washington State's already received funding, why should I support continued funding?
Well, that's a very good point. While it's true that our state has received several grants from this particular program already, we're still eligible to receive additional funding. Particularly, the previous grants that we've received were a part of our regional planning program. However, we're now in the right position after completing this past program to receive additional funds to actually implement that plan. And I believe without doing that, we would have wasted more money than necessary.
And as you probably have seen, the state of Washington is facing a pretty tough economy, like a lot of states around the country. And I just want to know, what is the benefit to the economy of Washington with this program?
Senator, as you know, the state of Washington, particularly around Olympia, we're expected to see a growth of about 170,000 people. Right now, we have to think about what are we going to do with those individuals, what type of jobs we're going to create to keep, what type of transportation investments do we need, and what this grant has been able to allow us to do is to actually take that plan and actually to think about those things and to create more economic opportunities. What type of transportation investments do we need to create more transportation options that will allow a healthy and thriving economy around Olympia?
I still don't like the idea of federal programs or a federal agency giving out funds that have strings attached and the federal government telling local communities what to do.
I totally agree with you. One of the things about the partnership grant process was that it did not have a restrictive limitation. It was actually, we had to create a proposal internally and organically. What would actually help our region? What would help Olympia? And that is what we were based upon on a competitive basis. And so initially, essentially, the program was less than a cookie cutter, but more of how can we help ourselves? And I thought that was really, really beneficial to our community.
Interesting. I generally find these types of programs not as helpful as they appear. I'm glad to hear you're having a good experience with the Partnership for Sustainable Communities. I'm concerned this program is geared more towards cities. As you know, as a senator, I represent rural communities too, and I'd be interested to know what the benefits to rural communities are.
Well, you'll be pleased to hear that this past round of HUD grants actually had $3 million set aside specifically for communities with less than 50,000 people, as well as a similar percentage number of Tiger planning grants that was actually specifically reserved for rural communities.
Oh, that's great to hear. I always like when things are ensuring that they're helping rural communities. I've really got to run. I have another meeting.
Oh, well, I want to again say thank you for your time, but I actually, everything I've discussed today is actually included in this packet. So if you have any additional information, but before you go, do you have any additional concerns that you want to address before you leave?
I wish I could talk longer, but I have to get to my next meeting. Thank you for coming in today, and I'll be sure to have my staff follow up with any other questions that myself or my staff have.
Well, Senator, thank you for taking the time, and hopefully I can bring you back to the state and actually see the wonderful benefits of the partnership at some point in time.
Oh, that would be great. I would love to see the partnership on the ground in action in the Olympia community. It was great meeting you, and thank you for all you do for the great state of Washington.
Thank you.